to introduce to you Gopi ji. Before I introduce him, I want to say that in Shivananda Ashram, we were really fortunate to have 4 great saints. 2 were well known, other than Gurudev, direct disciples of Gurudev. One was, of course, Swami Chidananda, who was the spiritual successor, and then Swami Krishnananda, who was the general secretary. So they were well known. But we had 2 hidden saints in the ashram that people really only knew if they came here. One was Swami Brahmananda, who taught Vedanta, and the other was Swami Vidyananda. And he was one of my neighbors in the ashram where I lived. And Gopiji lived next door to him and served him day and night from the time he came. Really, he came in the early 80s, around 1982, for his first visit, and has been here ever since. And he is a secretary. He serves in the president's office and will also help in the general secretary's office as well. But what was really remarkable in Gopiji's life is that Swami Vijayananda, he used to have a morning session. One actually could set their clock by him because I think what time did he get up in the morning? About
2:45.
2:45, so I think maybe, and then he would knock on Gopiji's wall to wake him. Is that what he used to do in the old days? Knock on the wall and wake him up. And he would start doing his own sadhana, after his normal routine. But you could hear him at least start doing his own sadhana, at least by 3 o'clock, I think. He used to play the veena, he was a musician. And people would join him at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they would chant a different chapter of the Gita every single day. And then they would have a whole music sadhana that go for about 4 to 6. And Gopiji was there every single day, without fail. But when Swamiji took sick, he had a stroke, and then he became very incapacitated. And Gopiji served him literally day and night for his last number of years. And so I think the whole ashram has really appreciated that incredible dedicated service, because you can imagine when you're on call day and night. For a stroke patient, he wasn't able to really walk. And so, every detail of his life had to be looked after. And now, of course, he's serving the ashram in a larger capacity, serving the president and general secretary. So I'm very happy to introduce Gopiji. And of course, he's studied all of Vedanta, and he'll share his wisdom with you.
Hari Om. It's a wonderful moment in the cosmic plan. This moment is a blessed moment because we all are here to think about God. Look at the vast world spread out. In that awareness, you feel this moment. It's a rarity actually, given by the God to us. Come together. Sit and think about me, he says. It is given by him. So, I am very much blessed to be with you. Thank you for that. And I wish you a very happy, wonderful fragrance of Christmas that may take you to a very happy New Year. We are supposed to sit and meditate and think about God. That's why we have come together, and we have a plan. We are told to do this. Not only about God and God alone. It is something mysterious. Why there should be God and God alone? You should think about this. God is not sufficient. Why God and God alone? We might have been spiritual seekers in our previous lives. We do not know. This life may be a continuation of that, and it may continue in future also. Many lives we do not know. It is nice to be a seeker or a sadhak or a disciple. So there is a God for us to seek, and there is a seeker. It's a wonderful life. How far we will seek Him. This life of a seeker itself is a comfortable life for us. We can sit and meditate. It's a very easy thing for us to do, very comfortable thing. Just sit, think about Him. And other time what we do, we may forget Him sometimes. When we are caught up with our day-to-day activities, we find it very difficult to keep the remembrance of God. But we know we are spiritual seekers. That gives us some assurance that God takes care of us. So we have made a relation with Him. I and my God. I exist. God also exists. We have no doubt that about His existence. How do we seek Him? What for? All these questions arise if we really look into. Why do we seek Him? Deep within us there is a satisfaction. He fulfills our desires. Whenever there is a problem we are facing, we look at Him, we remember Him, oh Lord, we pray to Him. Please take me out of this. And He does it. So, do we want to continue our life like this? Whenever we are in need of something, we look at Him? Or when we need something which we cannot attain, so we pray to Him and He grants it. Is our spirituality only this much? Otherwise, it is a surprising thing in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan tells, out of millions and billions of spiritual seekers, you can count the real, genuine spiritual seekers on your finger. It is something baffling. Why it is so? Then where do we stand? What is that seeking? The real spirituality is God and God alone. When Swamiji selected this topic, he might have thought over this. For us, is it really becoming an annual ritual? We come here, sit, meditate and go. All these thoughts should pass through. Are we a genuine spiritual seeker? Is it only a comfort-giving practice? We get some kind of solace and comfort from God because we are a seeker. So, as far as we are a seeker, a sadhak, God exists apart from us. As a child seeking the blessing of his father, oh Father, kindly get me that. And Father grants his desire. Is it like that? It is a kind of seeking the blessing of his Father. God and God alone. What is that concept, God and God alone? Think about that. Before that, God exists along with many other things. So we seek God out of other existences. God, we seek God and God alone. out of that. But when it is put to us, seek God and God alone, that is a stage where nothing else exists other than God. Anything you behold, that is God and God alone. What kind of state is that? It is like a firewood having caught fire at one end. Slowly it is being consumed by the fire. A time comes, it is totally burned. The existence of firewood is no more there. Then we can say now there is fire and fire alone, nothing else. Is it something like that? God and God alone in our life. If we accept that, is there a possibility for us to exist as a separate entity other than God? A river, when meets with ocean, what happens to that? The river loses its identity. It is no more a river. It is the ocean alone. A drop of water, and when it falls in the ocean, what happens to that? The drop of water ceases to exist as a separate entity. Then it is ocean and ocean alone. So likewise, when we say God and God alone, it is actually telling us he is a genuine, serious, real seeker who believes in that God and God alone exist. I do not have a separate existence. When he feels that, he believes in it. God and God alone exists. Is it not a paradox for us? How we can believe in that? A man who takes up spiritual study, he studies all the scriptures, maybe 10 years or 15 years, ultimately he lands up in this conviction, God and God alone exist, at least intellectually. So now for us, there is no time for that, to take up all this study. Then what is the alternative for us? We should believe in that. If we can believe in that, supported by our common sense and reasoning, that faith will take us. See, just think of that. 15 years or 20 years of spiritual study ultimately grants them this conviction, God and God alone is. If we can believe in that, it will be a great blessing for us. God alone exists. Then the doubt arises. God alone exists. Then where do we dispose this world? This world of multiplicity is existing here in front of us. How do deal with that? Is it not? I'll tell you an example by which we can understand things. We'll understand what this world is if you receive the message behind that story. It is not even a story, a thing which we every day confront with. Suppose in your home, young boy, he comes in all of a sudden and addressing the mother, "Oh mother, I am feeling very hungry, give me some food." Mother is so happy, because whenever the child wants to eat something, it brings joy in the heart of mother and she wants to feed him. Immediately she brings something and puts in front of him. Have it. "Oh mother, I asked you to bring food. You brought me some bread piece. I want food." Mother gets confused. Why? Oh, this may be, he wants something else more, which he always likes. She runs back to the kitchen and prepares something, brings, puts in front of him. Have it. Oh, mother, I am telling you again, I want food. You brought now chapati? Mother is confused again. What is this? This boy is telling. Again she goes to kitchen, brings out something else which he likes more. Oh, she remembers, maybe. Oh, mother, I want food, not this. You have brought now some toast. I don't like that. I want food, the real food. Like this, the whole table is full of varieties of eatable. Now you look at it. For mother, everything is food. For this boy, everything is a stuff, different stuff. Is there any difference? Mother knows everything is food. This boy doesn't recognize it as food. He knows the name and form of every item and he identifies each item accordingly. Now look at this world. We behold the different names and forms here. What is actually this? This is the creation, why it was created. When the absolute being, the cosmic being, from its pristine purity, suppose, it stepped out as an individual being, jiva, spirit. It is like a child. The moment it steps out of that, it has a desire to attain back its original state. That is the first desire. I want to be myself. When that desire is expressed, the cosmic mother puts it in front of him as a creation. Yes. Oh mother, this is the earth or the part of this is a name and form. I don't want that. I want that. My real state. Okay. Immediately mother creates something else. She creates 7 worlds for him. Enjoy. This is your food. Oh mother, I am asking you for food. I am asking you my reality. That is what I want to. Mother again runs and creates another billions of universes for him. Oh mother, I don't want this, I want my reality. See, just think of that. This jiva within is desiring that and that alone. And all other desires, even a minute, a smallest desire also, it is nothing but an iceberg of that desire. Any desire we express in our life is nothing but a tip of that mountainous desire within. What is that desire? To attain our real state. The spirit within is nothing but like a child of that father. It wants to attain that father. It wants to attain its real state. So any desire is nothing but an indication of that great desire within. So, this is the underlying reality of every activity that takes place in this universe. Any name and form you behold here is the food created by a divine mother to that great being. But if it identifies with the name and form, it doesn't recognize that it is that itself. The greatest proclamation of the Upanishad, it is Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Everything that you behold here is that absolute being itself, that God itself. God and God alone, nothing else is here. Everything, whatever is laid up on the table is food and food alone, nothing else. Likewise, all the names and form, even a blade of grass you take, it is God and God alone. This understanding, when it dawns in our heart, and if we believe in it, we have traveled a lot in the path of realization. Believe in that God and God alone exist. It is very difficult to hold on to that, but otherwise, what will happen? We will remain as a spiritual seeker. We may be a sadhak, and we will get saturated in that life. Slowly, sometimes, we may slip off. We may do some kind of spiritual activities which may satisfy us, which may earn our livelihood, whatever may be, because we are halfway. We have not even started our real path, treading the real path. God and a seeker. This is okay with respect to the ordinary worldly people. They have not even heard of God. Comparing to them, it is perfectly all right. But we should not stagnate in this path. We have to step into the real. And what is that path? That is a pathless path. Why it is called a pathless path? The food that is on the table, it is not food for the child, but for mother it is food. What is the difference between the child's food item and mother's food? The child beholds it as something else, the mother beholds it as food. What is the distance or difference between these two? The difference is only in the vision. So the God which is visibly present all around in front of us, something else. As the boy beheld the food as something else, for example. We are caught up in the name and form. We take that as real and forget the underlying reality. Suppose there are hundreds of pots lying here in front of us, made out of one clay. Each pot differs from one another in beauty and shape, and it is beautifully painted. For an onlooker, there are many varieties of things, each different from one another. But the man who knows the secret, they are all nothing but a lump of clay. See the difference. Likewise, all the creation exists. It appears in God. So God alone is the reality. He alone is here. Many people understand this. Then what is the problem? What is the problem then? Problem is only this much. We do not apply it here within. If everything is God, does He not exist here within? If He is very much here, this is the place to realize Him. Once we recognize Him here, realize Him here, then alone we can behold Him as the reality of all the names and forms. How easily we are fooled by the appearance. You might have heard about Nazruddin Mullah. He used to teach many lessons to people through his foolish activities. Many people addressed him as fools, an ignorant man, an illiterate man. But many used to flock around him because he was beyond any kind of understanding. Nobody could understand him. One day, he was taking 2 donkeys. Each donkey had a bundle of grass. So, after 1 kilometer, there is a check post crossing to another country. He was living in a border district. there used to be a lot of smuggling activities taking place. So a group of officials were always there checking each and every item. Mullah Nazruddin, as it is a very humorous person, so they every time, many times they observed this man carrying two donkeys with a bundle of grass. They know, because always there is a mischievous smile on his face. They know this man is always smuggling, but they tried their maximum to find out, but they couldn't. They checked him thoroughly, they checked the donkey and that bundle of grass. Every time they used to untie and spread out and check, they couldn't get anything. Even once they burned it, the whole grass, thinking that there is something, he said, nothing. Always that smile was there on his face, cunning smile, they say, as if you can't find out like that. So it went on many years. After some time, that officers, they got retired. After many years, one day, when Mullah was in the market, this officer, a retired person, happened to meet him. Then he told, "Oh, Mullah Nazruddin, at least now tell me. See, I am now totally retired. Now tell me, because somehow that curiosity is there in me. You know, nothing is going to happen, you tell me." He just said, "I was smuggling." He was asking, "What you were smuggling?" "I know you were doing it. Every time you were doing it." "It's simple, I was smuggling only donkeys. Every day, every time I used to smuggle 2 donkeys. Just think of that. Very much in front of your eyes, we don't behold that. What he was teaching through that, "Oh, you fools, I am carrying it in front of you, you don't see. This is how you miss the great Lord who alone is here. That God and God alone is here, we miss Him. We look for something else because we are spiritual. Our duty is to seek something. We are meditators, we sit, close our eyes and search Him. Where you search Him?" Once I drew a small circle on a blackboard and asked the people, "Just look at it, tell me what do you see?" Many people started giving many suggestions, ideas. And I put something else in the circle to confuse them, for example. Everyone said, "Oh, it is something, see, it is a tantric picture." "Anything else?" I asked. He started scratching his head. And like that, so many. Nobody said, "I behold the blackboard and a picture on that." No one said. No one so noticed the blackboard there. Why? By drawing that picture, a screen of delusion has been created. Your attention has been diverted to there. You look at this, that's all finished. Same thing, if I keep a very minute thing in my hand and I want to show you, see, look at it, very minute thing. Very attentively you look, I ask, "What do you see?" You say, "I don't see anything because I have not kept anything." Even though I keep my big hand in front of your eyes, you will not see that because your attention is totally diverted to this minute thing which actually doesn't exist. Out of this, a beautiful statement I can say, that is this. You search for a thing which actually doesn't exist, so you miss that which ever exists. We all try to behold that which actually doesn't exist, so we always miss that which ever exists. This is what is happening to all spiritual seekers. We don't have to search to see that, because it is ever existing. Even the very search is supported by that. Without that existence, no one can search that. So, if that is the thing, shall we drop all our spiritual seeking and practice? No. We should not get caught up into this conditioning. This whole world has created a web of conditioning here. We are caught up in that. That is the only thing. So, O Lord, I do not behold you because I have an eye. By this eye I am blinded. That's why I do not behold you. That's why scriptures say, He is the eye of the eye. This eye cannot behold that. O Lord, I do not receive the divine fragrance of Thee because I have an instrument for that. I do not touch you, O Lord, because I have a hand. This hand always touches the things of this world. God and God alone. This is the way how we have to change the vision. A dead man cannot see this world. A dead man cannot breathe. Then why we are able to do? Because of him. That itself implies that God and God alone exist in this. Believe in that. And when that conviction take hold of you, that conviction that God and God alone is there. Why? We see all the names and form, they come and go. They are not real. They are all mere appearances upon that reality. So instead of holding on to that appearances, let us feel that reality, which is God. Apply that here. The reality of myself is nothing but God and God alone. See, even we can intuitively feel that. Now you look back to your childhood. When you were crawling on the floor, if you can remember that, you were in him. You were in that child, is it not? It is not somebody else. You yourself were crawling on floor. Though you have outgrown him, you have not stepped out of him. You were there in that. The same you who is sitting here were in that. And when he grew up, started going to school, you were in him as I, is it not? Throughout, as a thread, you were existing in him. Then what has changed? Only the outer appearances. The mind has changed, intellect has changed, all other things have changed. But this thread has not changed. Even before birth, that which we do not remember, it existed. At least this we can remember after birth, taking birth. Every stage of our life, you were there in that. All other things were an appearance upon you. That's why you say, my body, my book, my intellect. They were not you yourself. This is my mic, I say. It is separate from me. If it is I myself, I will never say it is my thing. So there is not a single thing which I can say as I myself, other than I myself. Everything else, even the finest thoughts and emotions too, I identify as mine. That means it is separate from me. So when this understanding we reach, slowly we feel that reality, that I, is only a witness of all these things. It is a substratum of my life itself. So, with the grace, we should discriminate. When we discriminate my reality as totally pure thread that passes through all my existence, when we realize that, then we look around, we find that and that alone existing in all the names and forms. That way we can understand how God exists. That is the existence of all names and forms. When in me also that and that alone is there, totally believe in that, then try to feel it. Not rationally, with your being, feel it. That and that alone exist. That is God. In me also nothing else. God and God alone, nothing. You don't find anything else apart from that which you can attribute a permanent existence. Nothing else. That and that alone. God and God alone. Now we have discussed a lot. In whichever way you have received it, whichever way it has entered into your mind, let us for 5-10 minutes, let us sit together and feel about it silently, just to assimilate it. We have seen a cow after eating a lot of grass, it sits for a while and brings out and chew it. So likewise, let us feel about ourselves. Om. Om. First, behold your total personality. Collect yourself. In the world, how you project yourself, your personality. Try to see that. Who you are. The whole scenario will run through in front of you since childhood. Like a flash, you can behold yourself. When you really want to see everything, it will come in front of you. You cannot even stop it. The whole thing will run through in front of you. Because it is a command from yourself. It is being obeyed by this material aspect of your personality. It has to. It is a common, it's a assessment of the self, personality, individuality, Assess yourself, what you are. All your childhood, youth, your family life, aspirations, ambitions, everything will come in front of you. All the experiences of your life, all the desires. You will find even your spiritual seeking in it. You will confront the spiritual seeker, you yourself. Put him in front of you and analyze. The whole thing appear on the screen of your mind. And you are witnessing it. Who is witnessing it? The one who is aware of all these things cannot be involved in it. Watch this. And there is no instrument or any faculty to behold the one who is witnessing it. Because he is aware of everything. There is nothing beyond him. That is actually what you are. Feel it. It's very simple. It doesn't need any philosophy for that. It's what you are experiencing now. The one who beholds everything as you, yourself. You even behold your individuality, personality, all ambitions, aspirations. The whole life is spread out in front of you. There is a possibility the ego is seeing all these things. Ego is witnessing all these things. If you are aware of that, push him away into the realm of objectivity. But if he won't go, you push him 100 times, he stands there. We try, it comes to fight with you. I am not ego, I am God itself. I am the eternal witness, he tells you 100 times. If you believe it, why you should not believe it? Because you yourself are telling that. If he doesn't go, no harm, he won't go like that. Let him, make him the servant of God. Hand him over to the Lord. He will make him his servant. Because of his presence, we don't behold, we don't feel that presence of the Almighty Lord within us. It is the ego who stands. He blocks him. Doesn't matter. He too has an existence, otherwise he cannot survive. It is the will of God. So let him be his servant. Let him serve him. This is the way to finish him off. If we can really feel that like this, the existence which I feel is nothing but the ego which every moment shows its head. Put him in the service of the Lord. That is very important. That is the way. To finish him in the fire of God. Put him in his service. That ego has all the tricks in his hand. It can even appear as God. it deceives. One has to be very vigilant and watchful to recognize him. It is he, that ego, who killed millions in gas chambers. It is that ego who killed millions of lives through bombings, bullets. Even now it is busy doing it. If you recognize him fully, we will be saved. Make him the eternal servant of Lord. Every activity what we do is a service unto the Lord. When we talk with another man, with this remembrance, I am talking to the Lord, the God Himself. The God within me is speaking to the God within him. Then that very activity becomes a universal activity. It is the God beholding the God, the universal beholding the universal. Every word we utter, with this understanding, it will drip honey. There will not be any trace of anger and hatred and jealousy if we keep this understanding. God and God alone is here. He is within me and He is within all the living beings. So this ego is put in His service. Every activity. The fear, hatred, anger, jealousy, all these things will take to their heels. It cannot exist, it cannot survive. They all survive in our mind where there is confusion, ignorance. By grace of God, if we can believe in that, God and God alone is there. And this becomes the practice to feel that all-pervasiveness of God. Every thought we entertain, do it with this remembrance. Then it becomes a elevating, wonderful, helping thought. It will brighten up our life. You will behold Him every moment of your life. In all the names and forms. But we have to practice this, keeping faith in His all-pervasiveness and feeling it sincerely and entering it willingly. This faith, if we keep, everything becomes simple. You don't have to study all the scriptures. You don't have to confront the philosophers. Everything is crystal clear to you because total faith, God and God alone is here. Nothing else exists. And He is seated in my heart. When that ego is totally rubbed out, you will feel I alone exist, nothing else is here. That I is nothing but the God, which I behold in every one of the living beings. That should be our experience. Living in this remembrance is the real spirituality where we aspire God and God alone, nothing else. If we genuinely believe in it and feel it and practice it, that itself is the greatest knowledge, that itself is the greatest devotion. That itself is the greatest reward also. There is nothing else to be achieved in this life. Because this is the essence of all the scriptures. This is the message that the great masters had been giving to us. May He bless all of us. Not only in this life, this very moment itself. Om Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama 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 Om. Hari Om. Thank you very much.